A workplace bullying environment functions a lot like a cult. We know a lot about cults because of the big one about 100 years ago. So what's going on here? In a workplace bullying environment, just like in a cult, you have a handful of people at the top who are hardcore evil. I mean, they are so evil, you cannot stand to sit in the same room with them. Their evil is palpable. It's tangible. They don't even have pupils. They're dark souls. That's what they are. This is Satan's army walking among us. And they really were just born that way. Abuser, victimizer, and bully are all archetypes just like any other. And their souls chose violence in this lifetime just for shits and giggles. They chose to incarnate in order to inflict pain and suffering on human beings. And they're just doing their job. On the other hand, you have a number of people who are not necessarily bad people per se. What they are is weak. Their weakness is spiritual. They simply do not have a strong enough angelic and/or ancestral team to be able to fight off that evil. So they can be very easily compromised, just like in a cult. They can be recruited into the bullying, or they are the bystanders. So what's going on with the bystanders? Why do they believe the lies? The first reason is simply low IQ. I hate calling people stupid and try to avoid it as much as possible. I think stupid is such a petty and facile insult. Anytime we don't like someone, whether it's workplace bullies or other drivers on the road, the first thing we do is call them stupid. The second thing we do is call them crazy, especially women. Stupid basically means you don't agree with me, and crazy means that you are different from me. And I hate stooping to that level because that's exactly what workplace bullies do. But let's call a spade here. The average adult human IQ is between 85 and 115. So a lot of us easily have at least 30 IQ points on these people. I do not know how you function in this world with an IQ that is that low, unless ignorance is bliss. Maybe life is easier if you're stupid. I don't know. But more than stupidity, I think what it really is a problem with critical thinking. It is a failure to think critically. We know that critical thinking is on the decline. I was fortunate enough to receive a public education in which I was taught how to think critically. But more and more, it seems the focus in education, in this country at least, is on performative action and profitable skill, on doing, not thinking, on accumulating wealth in the interest of self, instead of evolving into a well-rounded, multifaceted, functioning member of society with something to contribute. I happen to really like thinking. In fact, thinking is actually my favorite thing to do. I'm an introvert and could spend an entire week alone at home with absolutely zero human contact, with nothing but the pleasure of my own thoughts, and just be happy, happy, happy like that. A lot of people do not like to think. It takes too much energy and effort. It's too difficult. And if you think long and hard enough, at some point you are going to have to confront your own ego defenses, which most people don't want to do. Hatred is a very convenient ego defense. Hatred is an emotional extreme, and extremes eclipse critical thinking that is subtle and nuanced. If I can flip on the hate switch, then I can save myself a lot of time, energy, and effort. I don't have to put in the hard work of trying to get my head around someone who may be flawed but is still good. It's laziness. It's intellectual laziness. Bystanders are lazy. They're also immature. This is also a failure to individuate. It's groupthink, hive mind, herd mentality. They've seen what happens to people who are different, people who stand out. That would be you, and they want no part of it. These are fear-based people who live in terror of being ostracized from the collective. This is primitive, primordial, caveman, Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal thinking, reminiscent of a time in the distant past when separation from the group meant certain death. Individuals could not survive alone. It's tribal. We're not living in caves anymore, people. Humanity has collectively evolved into a society where differences can be accommodated. We don't lock children born with Down syndrome in the attic until they die anymore. A lot of people in a workplace bullying environment effectively never graduated from high school, and they still care about a bunch of shit that does not matter, like what other people think of them. They want to be one of the cool kids. And because there are always more bullies than there is a target, and the bullies are so loud, the bullies look like the cool kids. And it's just sad that so many people care more about fitting in than they care about integrity, ethics, morals, values, or even basic human decency. It is quite simply a lack of character. Worst case scenario, some of the bystanders may have been overtly threatened by the bullies into silence, or they may have been promised kickbacks for their complicity. Another reason the bystanders willingly believe the lies is they still have to work there, honey. Anyone who is in any kind of toxic situation, whether it's a dysfunctional family, an abusive relationship, or a workplace bullying environment, has on their Pollyanna rose-colored glasses and their blinders. It's a self-protective defense mechanism. You do it too. You cannot acknowledge the full horror of your present reality because to do so would cripple your psyche. These people have to survive, and so they gaslight themselves with a lot of cognitive dissonance. In my last full-time workplace bullying experience, the only HR person in the entire organization was literally the daughter of the president and CEO, who was a psychopath, who still lived with her. I shit you not. You cannot get a more perfect picture of what HR really is than that. The most evil person in her life is not only her boss, she's also her mother and roommate. I'm sure that she is to this day telling herself a lot of lies in order to justify her mother's bullying of me because psychologically she cannot survive any other way. And the final reason the bystanders believe the lies is, quite frankly, it makes them feel good. Yes, they do get a secret sick thrill out of your suffering because they're just so glad that it's not them. They dodged a bullet. It is a form of relief. Some of them do derive a sense of superiority by watching others take the fall instead of them. They feign sympathy as weak camouflage for what is really a smug confirmation of their inherent superiority. It's like, well, if you had just been more like me, then you wouldn't have gotten targeted. In that sense, bystanders to workplace bullying are a lot like pick-me girls. What is a pick-me girl? A pick-me girl is a woman who seeks out attention, approval, and external validation from men at the expense of other women. She aims to distinguish herself from other women by denigrating traditionally feminine qualities like emotionality and a preoccupation with physical image. Pick-me girls have demonized the word feminism. They think that feminist is a bad word, seemingly oblivious to the truth that they benefit every single day from the hard-won rights and freedoms that their feminist ancestors literally died for. Pick-me girls have internalized misogyny. They do what all misogynists do, label women as drama for simply expressing their feelings. Pick-me girls have identified men as the sole source of power in this world, just like the bystanders view the bullies as the cool kids. Standing in their integrity and asserting their boundaries and their rights got them nowhere. It didn't get them what they wanted. So they decided to try to go play for the other team to see if they can get some more power that way, even if it runs counter to their best interests. By distinguishing themselves from other women, pick-me girls suddenly become big fish with a better chance of being caught. They're suck-ups to power. It's power at all costs. Integrity, morals, ethics, values be damned. They're grifters. In their defense, I think pick-me girls have never seen solidarity actually work. And that's not entirely their fault. Granted, I have not been following the news for almost a year, so I have no idea what's going on, but to my knowledge, we really have no recent examples of solidarity working on a large scale in our society. Our unions are crumbling. As non-narcissists and non-bullies and sane, decent, normal people, we obey the speed limit and traffic laws because it's better for everybody. We vote and pay our taxes because it's just better for everybody. We wear masks and get vaccinated because it's just better for everybody. Most people in this society do not do better for everybody. They do, how can I get mine? It's a culture of hyper-individualism run amok, and that's insecurity. The antidote to insecurity is solidarity, not individualism. But most people don't know that because they have no examples of solidarity actually working. The final thing I want to say about the bystanders, enablers, and flying monkeys in the workplace is just be very careful never to become a flying monkey yourself. We've all been manipulated by the narcissists in our lives into becoming flying monkeys at one point or another. We do that because, like pick-me girls, we prioritize our own survival over compassion, empathy, and universal consciousness. In her new song, Vampire, Olivia Rodrigo sings, "Every girl I ever talked to told me you were bad, bad news. You called them crazy. God, I hate the way I called them crazy too." If a coworker that you have rightfully determined is toxic and unsafe is coming to you with some tea and bad-mouthing another coworker, take it with a grain of salt. That person clearly has an agenda, and they don't respect you because they assume that you are so stupid that you will fall for it. Do not participate in the gossip. Do not believe the lies. Do not allow yourself to be compromised and recruited into the cult. Your karma and your soul's salvation are not worth it. I hope that helps. Take care.